Good afternoon. And now we are here in another Bertoni School Live to talk with Joyce Mendez about the importance of the scientific curiosity.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here. Hello, this is Joyce Mendez, and I'm really waiting for the questions and to start the chat.
Okay, so now I will start asking you some questions, okay?
All right, no problem though.
Okay. And how, why, and when did you get so interested with science?
I think that it was like when I was very little. Actually, when I was in school, I was always seeing and wondering kind of the complexity, like the plants and the animals and so. But solely after I got to get to know about like astronomy, and it was kind of a way, like to discover like the whole universe and how like the micro universe is connected with the small universe. So as all kids, I said I want to be an astronomer. I'm saying I want to be the first, I don't know, like Latin American women astronomer and so. I got to do certain projects in astronomy and astronautics. Even I got to study a little bit about astrobiology once in uni. However, I realized that science is always and will be always in my life. Even though right now I'm following kind of not different, but an alternative path. Yeah.
Sorry, my microphone wasn't turning on.
No problem.
And so that is how your curiosity helped you as a kid. So like your
Yeah, I think that especially in these classes and like in chemistry or physics, like experiments, I wanted to see things happening, moving, why, and I was always asking the reason why this, why that.
and
And
how old were
like,
you? How
yeah.
old were you? How old were
Oh,
you that
wait,
time?
that. Oh, that I think around like 11 or 10 when I was like asking so much. Now I remember we didn't have like Google, I mean, or access to internet the way we do now. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like my mom was like, "You ask so much questions. Why don't you go and find that out for yourself?" I don't know. So you know what? And then I started like reading and like getting involved into kind of the science club in school,
Mm-hmm.
and also like a lot documentaries and books. I remember back in vacations, I used to read like around like 10 books, and I was making kind of a list of the books to read. So yeah, this is more or less how it started.
Yes. But so you really liked when you were a kid to to know you to know, right? To like
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's,
you
yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if you understand me.
yeah. What I think is that right now when I see what I started doing as a kid, it has kind of a reason in the way that it does prepare you kind of to the world, the fact of questioning, of
Mhm.
of of curiosity has been always there and will be always there, and that is very important because actually curiosity has led to these main like scientific discoveries of humanity.
Yes. And I have another question. I mean, I have a lot of questions, but
No
here's
problem.
another here's another one. And we know that you went to that camp, to the NASA camp. I don't know how it's called. And
Yeah, yeah.
how how did you get to how did you go there?
hmm So that was a program. It was like the International Space School, which was like in a space camp. So basically, what it started was like a call from some countries in Latin America because it is a program of NASA. So it's like a program where kids from several schools from around the world can go to spend like a week or so and a half and to try to simulate and to work as, okay, I'm going to simulate if I will be a NASA engineer. So it gives you this test on rovers, robots, even swimming kind of in the pool of the astronauts. as well a little bit of astronomy, and all as well about management and group teamwork, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a way of saying, okay, really, it's happening. I'm here in NASA, you know, it's kind of the dream that most kids have. And
And
then
you
I'm
were
like,
and you
I
were the
was,
first girl in South America.
well, you know, from where I knew I was, so it was kind of very exciting at the time because it was
Yes.
almost 10, 11 years ago. So the program was actually starting. And I knew there would be like people from Central America and other countries, but South America especially. So it was kind of exciting by the time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And and now changing a little bit of theme, theme.
Yeah, the topic.
Yes. I know that you co-founded, I think that is the word, in organizations and movements.
Yes.
Why did you do that, and how did you do that?
Well, after, so I'm telling you a little bit of how I went from this part of astronomy science to co-found organizations. So basically, after finishing, the space camp, I kind of continue studying a little bit of, as I say, astronautics. And then once I was in uni, I did a little bit of astrophysics. I studied like kind of the movement, certain movement of the planet Mercury, and so. But then I started focusing in astrobiology. And what is astrobiology? So astrobiology is the search of life in the universe, and it's not just the search of life. It's kind of to understand how life was originated, the future, and if we are alone or not in the universe. And if you see these rovers going to Mars, and so it involves a lot of astrobiology. So what I was studying actually was exoplanetary habitability. What's that? So actually, there are planets within our solar system, but there are also planets outside of the solar system, and they have been discovered a lot since the launch of a space telescope or a space probe called Kepler in 2009. They are discovering a lot of planets, and many scientists are saying like, oh, we perhaps are going to discover the Earth 2.0. So I was interested actually what makes a planet that is outside of the solar system around another star, what makes habitable. I mean, what what are the conditions that that planet has to have in order to have life? So I was studying this for some years, right? And I understood that there are several aspects, but actually one aspect that is fundamental is water. Just real quick, let me just finish this one. Yeah.
Yes, and you know the answer is now if it's
No,
habitable or not.
actually, we don't know.
I mean, I
Because
don't know,
it's far
but
away. It's really far away. So just think about it. If to the closest exoplanet that we have is around 4.6 light years, that sounds like close. But if with our current technology, if we were going to use a rocket to go from Earth to that planet, that would take us around 100,000 years, which is the time that humans have been on Earth around. So it's really far away. We still don't know. There are some clues, about like the chemicals in the planets. And if you see in the news, it says, oh, there is a planet of diamonds, or there is a planet of, rock, but we don't
mhm,
know exactly about the life. So then, as I say, I understood that water was this specific instrument, and it was this specific element that actually allows to have life, because it's kind of a universal dissolvement, and water allows to have kind of certain chemical reactions to happen. And so then I started getting worried, because by then I was in Foz de Iguazu, living
mhm,
right there in the border of Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina. And the area is all about water. You have the Paraná River, right, which is one of the largest rivers of South America, connecting Paraguay and Brazil. And in the
mhm.
other side, you have the Iguazu River. which actually gives birth to the Iguazu Falls. Underneath the soil is the Guarani Aquifer. So it's all about water, the region, right? You have the hydroelectrical plants and so I was thinking, how's water security here? Is it safe to drink this water? Is it not polluted? How is about this? Because that is a border. So we think the border whenever we cross the bridge, either to Foz do Iguaçu or to Ciudad del Este. But at the end of the day, water doesn't recognize borders. So I was a little bit worried about the quality of the water and the environmental quality in the border. So that's why I started creating some movements. I created the first organization, was the Youth Collective of the Paraná Basin #3. And this was actually to join youth and to say, okay, what are we going to do? What are our priorities? And then we started talking and educating ourselves about
How much people there
sustainability.
was?
Yeah, excuse me.
How much people there was?
Well, this was youth from 21 cities from the Paraná state in Brazil. Yeah,
A
that
lot of
was
people.
very exciting. We had youth from, let's say, 15-year-old to 35-year-old, because for us it was fundamental to understand the perspectives, the reality. We had in the group as well, like indigenous youth, artists, sports, people, everybody there, because like sustainability, especially environmental action, has to include everybody. So that was one of the organizations I co-founded,
You
but it started with science. It started because I realized the importance of water and studying other planets.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow. And how much there were? Not people. How much?
Oh, like how old you think you said?
No. How much movements? How much
Oh,
organization?
organizations. Yeah. So basically, that was the first one. So afterwards, I co-founded also the Environmental Observatorio Foz do Iguaçu, which is nowadays called Observatorio Ambiental Moema Biese. And basically, we wanted to create public policies. So what is public policies? Public policies are tools that citizens have in order to have a proper territorial management or to impact a territory. So let's say about water, about education, and so we wanted to create environmental public policies. And we have worked till now is youth. We have involved youth from the UNILA University, which is the Latin
From where?
American University, UNILA, which
Oh.
is the Latin American University for Federal Integration, which is located in Foz. So we have like a very diverse group from youth from all around, like Latin America, I said, like around 10 countries. So we have created, we have supported the creation of the environmental public policy in Foz, the waste management public policy, and we have also worked with climate adaptation. What is that? So we know there is climate change happening, right? So we need to learn to live with that. We see in the news the temperatures, we see the things that are happening. So what we started developing, it was a partnership as well with the University of Leeds, and we were studying how Ciudad del Este can help Foz de Iguaçu and they can help Puerto Iguaçu in order to be more resilient and more stronger for the climate adaptation. So, and the last project was as well regarding the Atlantic forest or the Mata Atlantica. It was actually to protect the forest. So that is the second organization. And afterward came the Latin
But
American
and you
Observatory.
started that you alone?
It was a group of people. I haven't started alone because organizations are made of people. So actually, it was always a group of people. But I was coming with ideas. I was saying, guys, this is happening. This is other happening. And what science gave me and what I learned with science is that connecting and mobilizing people is fundamental to achieve anything you want, right? We have seen that the biggest human entrepreneurial projects in science, they are not by one person. You have to have a team in order
Yeah.
to have, like more creativity and ideas. So I started, as I said, like always with teams and people. So from one organization, we were jumping to the other, we were creative. So at the
Mhm.
end of the process, Sophie, basically we got to create another organization. We was the Latin American Observatory of Geopolitics of Energy. And then in Paraguay, I co-founded the Youth for Water Network and the Youth Network in Climate Change. So from since 2017, with the Youth for Water Network, we have something that is El Foro Nacional Agua y Juventud, the National Forum Youth and Water. So this year is going to be online, eh? So it's important if you guys from the Bertoni School can participate. We're going to have lecturers, we're going to have formations, we're going to have a lot of
You're gonna
things.
what? You're gonna have what?
Formations like lecturers, events, projects. We want to teach youth as well in Paraguay.
It will be
Why?
lives or
Yeah, it's going to be online because of the current situation, right?
uh-huh.
But what we are going to do, we have a network of youth working in different departments and places, states as well in Paraguay about water. So we are doing several projects. So one of the projects is about translating material from English to Guarani, about water
Mhm.
resources, about
So the
protecting the
people learn.
aquifers
Wow.
with the members of the organization.
You talk Guarani?
Excuse me.
You talk Guarani?
I'm learning, I understand it. Unfortunately, I'm like really bad at speaking, but I am learning. Science and projects is making me learn because there is a lot of plants, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of plants which names are in Guarani. Because I went to do like a project of park rangers or park volunteers in El Chaco, and most of the names of the plants and animals were in Guarani. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, time to learn it. So yeah, I'm doing it. So maybe in the future we might speak. Do you speak Guarani actually?
No,
Well, but you
I just
understand a
know like
little
the basic, but just because of school, not
bit.
because
Yeah,
I want. Yeah.
yeah, no problems. Yeah, Sophie, that's basically it, kind of the story of the organizations that I
Mm-hmm.
have co-founded. And another part is the organizations that I am part of, that I haven't co-founded, but I am a member. So, so you better ask me because I speak a lot, so I don't want
No, me too. I'm just not speaking a lot here because, but I speak a lot too, so there's no problem.
to. Okay.
And as you did that, I wanted to know if you have received once a reward or something like that.
Yeah, well, with organizations, basically, with one, the Environmental Observatory, we received Sustainable Practices Award because we were working with waste management, how to solve the problem of waste. So we received that one. Then, whenever we were creating the public policy on environmental education, we received another award from the west of Paraná, like boas práticas or buenas prácticas or good practices in
Mm-hmm.
sustainability. This is from one side, and with another organization, we received the award of kind of one of the most kind of innovative projects for youth and energy transition. That means how to talk about sustainable energy. So this project is called the Youth Sustainability Energy Hub. So it's a place, it's a website that you go, and there are kind of the top projects of youth and energy from around the world. So it has been mostly kind of, as I say, awards with organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
personally, yeah, I have got kind of the biggest, I think, award that I got. I got a prize actually. It was not just a prize, but it was a trip. It was a travel to the Middle East, to Abu Dhabi, to be part of a climate conference. So I was invited to represent the Mercosur or the South American youth talk about energy transition. And it was very, very meaningful and impactful as well, because I remember I had the opportunity to talk with ministers of countries there. Yeah.
And how old were you in that time?
I wasn't that young. With
What?
this award,
What?
I was 22.
Oh, my.
I was very, because it took a lot of work to get there. It got a
Mhm.
lot of work, and
No, but
also
you are young. You're still young.
it's
You were still young in that time. You
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
old.
I think that talk a lot for her, as I said, and something that I also want to say that opportunities to study, right? I got the opportunity as well to study in a federal university in Brazil, and right now I had the opportunity to study as well in a university here in the United Kingdom. So all these opportunities are, let's say, kind of awards or prizes from the from what you do whenever you're young and whenever you have all this energy and creativity, and so yeah.
And how did you learn the English?
Oh wow, that's a very interesting question actually. So
When you go when you went to NASA, you already knew or not?
you know what I'm saying? I knew, but I wasn't that good at speaking. So let me tell you a little bit of the story. So basically, with my family, we are migrants. That means we migrate from several countries. So there was a time as well that we went to Mexico and then we went to the States. But it was very short. So it was mostly the time that I got to learn as well by myself, let's say, like listening music, watching movies, reading. Like it was mostly, like I still, you can tell, like you can tell there are certain things I still don't know, but it's
Hmm.
mostly by myself and listening and reading. I think reading a lot. So I can say, and afterwards it was practicing and having friends from several parts of the world. And so that's mainly how I got to learn.
Wow, but you were just 11. That is so amazing, you
Oh,
know.
yeah. I was very nervous whenever I got there, because one thing is kind of these in conversations, kind of informal conversations that you can have with someone. So you speak and stuff. But then I remember in NASA, they asked us to do a presentation actually. So with a presentation about like a Mars rover. I forget which one. I think it was like the Opportunity rover. It was called like that. And they just said, "Oh, you guys go in the front and you speak." And they brought some people who work in NASA kind of to evaluate us. And I was just
Hmm.
really stressed. I remember I was sweating. I was like really nervous. And then I even said, "Look, apologize because it's not my main language." But they said, "No, no, no, let's do it." And then afterwards, after you are kind of not not longer embarrassed to speak, then you just go with it. Till nowadays, like that you're always learning. So I'm always learning.
Hmm.
There is every day I learn a new word.
Yeah, every day something new happens. And another question now. And wait, have you worked yet in something like, I don't know, in something about your dream or just works?
Yeah, but so basically, well, let's talk about like kind of international experiences. Yeah, it was very interesting. I got to work with a think tank. So a think tank is an organization that is not like an NGO, but it's like an organization that produces knowledge and also produces resource and outreach and capacity building projects. So it was an organization in Belgium. The name is Center for United Nations Constitutional Resource. It's called CUNCR, and I was working as well as in the communication, but in the research area. So actually, look, very interesting. They work about governance, global governance. So what is governance? Is asking, for example, who governs the climate, who governs the space, who governs the oceans. That means who. It's not who's the owner, but who manage.
Hmm.
Like those things. And the question that I saw with them, it was like, who governs the climate? And I was thinking, yeah, actually, who is it? Is it the president of a country? Is it a citizen? But climate change doesn't have borders. So how we can govern or manage that?
Mm-hmm.
So with these people, actually, it was very, very curious because we needed to create a project, a scientific project. In fact, look, it's very interesting now that I think. So it's about climate change, but we needed to offset carbon. What is offset carbon? That means to absorb carbon. So a tree, the tree that you plant, the trees they absorb carbon, right? To
Mm-hmm.
produce the photosynthesis, right? That's what we learn in school. So
Mm-hmm.
planting trees is a great idea in order to decrease the global temperature and in order as well to mitigate and to decrease climate change. So we needed to create a project about planting trees in certain countries of Africa, like Mozambique and Ghana. And we needed to establish which kind of tree, how much carbon, and so and so and so. So it was very scientific, and I was surprised because I was like, well, I came mostly here kind of for communication, but it was very scientific. So at the end of the day, we developed a calculator that calculates, for example, let's say Sophie wants to travel from Asuncion to London. You want to come to visit me in the future. So we can calculate how much carbon, or emissions or pollution that produce, and then it can tell you how much trees you need to plant in order to have to be okay
Wow.
with the earth. And those calculations are, those calculators are already there, and there are a lot. But this calculator was produced by youth, by young people, by people
Mm-hmm.
like you and me. So it was
Mm-hmm.
1 year of work. And the calculator, I might leave it in the chat later in Facebook, but we have a calculator right now. So it's in the website, and we are doing tree planting trees, as I said, in
Are you
Ghana
still
and
doing that, so?
Mozambique. Yeah, I'm not working right now with them because there are a lot of projects, but I'm also advising and I'm supporting them. So yeah, it's been very curious. So scientific knowledge, it can take you to many places,
So,
and
uh-huh.
even though
So,
I was doing that on another area, I said no, you actually need scientific knowledge to develop this. So we were working with a friend. She's a climate scientist, so we were developing this. We were working with people from communication, we were working with people from financing to produce these solutions. Yeah.
wow. All of that because of science. And you already did a lot of things just because of your interest in questioning and in science and reading and all of
Yes,
that.
yeah, exactly. And also because Sophie, I realized that especially in South America, Latin America, I know we have a long way to go for science because
Mm-hmm.
when I went to NASA, I saw kids, because then I went to do volunteering, so I was volunteering there, and I saw kids of 7 years old doing robotics and programming, and they knew many things, and I was like, oh, I learned robotics till I was like 13. It's like, they were half
Mm-hmm.
my age and they already knew. And if you want to have, as I say, like citizens that actually are more aware about not just the planet but about politics, and so they need to know science, they need to know, especially to prevent ignorance. If you see now, Sophia, as well with the virus, at the beginning many people didn't even know whether it was a virus. Many people were confusing a virus with a bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize, like, come on,
You
that's
you
when you have science classes.
you already knew the difference, right? I mean, of course,
Yeah, yeah, in uni I got to see. But
but
even that, that sounds like ridiculous. But even that, it is
to
important.
any in I don't know this. I'm questioning you. I don't know if it's something, but even if you want to study like um to be abogado,
A lawyer.
an a lawyer, you need to learn science,
Well, I
or
think the
not?
basics, because imagine if, for example, like you're like a lawyer and then you have to defend a case that involves anything about the environment, let's say like a
Mhm.
pollution of a river, someone was cutting my trees, or the trash in the river, which is very
Mhm.
common. We see it. All the trees
Yes.
are burning. It's just like the Amazon, but like Chaco and other regions are burning. The lawyer need to know, okay, like the basics, and they need to know as well the environmental regulation, and that comes as well from science. So, and for example, if I tell you like, oh, there is a forest, and then the forest, they have several mechanisms, plants do photosynthesis, that's what I'm telling to you. Or every time a forest is burned or they are cutting a forest, there is a lot of carbon dioxide that is being released and going to the atmosphere. And if they don't know this, it's going to be really complex. So even a lawyer. I also have a friend, and she's a model, and she started learning about energy, about like energy transition, different types of energies, sustainable energies. And right now she's doing like an online campaign about like energy, and she's talking
But
about
for
energy,
what?
but she's a model, she's a model.
So just because she wanted.
Yeah,
Wow.
because she as well wanted to have a different perspective in her career. So even a
Mhm.
model can learn about science.
Wow. That's really interesting. Then, and so now you're not working, right?
Well, yeah, I am working, but not with an organization. Right now, what I'm doing is consulting. So what is consulting? Let's say because I'm studying full time masters, and it's quite complex because it's a lot of science still. I'm studying
How,
sustainability,
how much
and
years do you need to study in what
well,
you're
so yeah,
studying?
like I studied like 7 hours per day. So
No, but
is
for how much years do you need to? Because I don't know.
oh yeah, how long is the masters? Like you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a year. So in theory, by the end of December, I might be finishing already.
So just two
Um,
years.
yeah.
Mhm.
So basically, as I say, I'm doing sustainability and adaptation planning. So the other time that I'm used is for consulting. So for example, someone says or send me an email, Joyce, we need an advice or a guidance in a project. Can you help us? So that's how it works. Or for example, they said we need you to present or be part of an event, or right now, if there will be no travel restrictions, I will be traveling and doing conference. But right now, everything is online, so it's kind of working
Yeah.
out well. But in the future, I want to work more on projects on site. I want to keep going in communities, and I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back to Paraguay at the end of the year. So I
Oh,
want to
super.
do a lot of projects there. Yes.
Yes. So that was the other question if you were going to come back, and now you answered. So
Yes, I miss so much the people. I miss the country. I miss the culture. The weather here is very cold, but it was very interesting as well to get to know the reality. Even though it's English, a language that I know, the culture. Especially United Kingdom has been a country that has a lot of science. A lot of periods of science. So it's been very interesting. And it's been very demanding as well to study in a university here because the standards are quite high at the same time. But yeah, I miss the weather. I got my terere here. I
how
got
much time have you been there?
since actually April, the beginning
What?
of the pandemic. April
So when you came, like
last
you
year.
got
Yeah,
there and the pandemic
yeah, yeah.
exploded. Like,
Yeah, it was crazy because at the beginning, okay, and then we had to go online, and then there was a period that we were going just for practical classes to the campus because my campus, the university that I study, is a sustainable campus. Everything they produce their own electricity with solar panels, with biomass. They plant the food. Everything's completely sustainable. The
Wow.
buildings is sustainable. So you go there to study the materials, the community, and it's in the mountains of Wales. This is the south of the UK. But then we started getting locked down, so activities are mainly online. Perhaps already in the next month we're gonna be allowed to.
Yes, in the school too, we were allowed, but now it's all closed again. That's
Yeah.
not good. And are you
No, but
alone there?
well, basically, I met my boyfriend, so so I'm
So
living right now with him.
now you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other questions were about I've seen the lives I've seen the life that you did that was about the project, the School of Science,
Oh yeah.
and the the teacher, the principal told me that you are helping. I mean, that you're involved, but you were going to be no wait. In the past, you were going to be something. You were going to be, I think, that directora of this of the School of Science, but now you're not able because of the pandemic. But will you still help us? Will you
Of
still
course,
be
guys, of
with us?
course. Yes, Sophia, one, there is a lot of projects, a lot of contexts and ideas that I have done throughout the years that I want to help, youth. I want to see this Paraguayan youth going to other countries doing projects, getting to science competitions, doing a lot of things. And whatever, guys, I can do as well to train you, to teach you, to show you, and to indicate you. Of course, I'm going to be able to do it. And especially in astronomy, in sustainability. I have a lot of ideas and materials, and I see as well how the Bertoni School, with Paulo, and everything is doing is creating a space, something that we call a hub. A hub is an area where youth can meet and things can happen and projects can take place. So for sure, I'll do it.
I like so much. I mean, I like science a lot, and yes, I think that that's really good.
So, what
And
about you? How did you learn English, Sophie? Oh, how's it like?
in my other school, the English was like in the morning we needed to talk only Spanish. They didn't let me talk in Portuguese with my friends, so I it was English or silence in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Since the because we stayed there the whole day, so since the lunch until the the salida, I forgot how to say
Yeah,
that.
like the afternoon, the end. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it was all English, and it was science in English, religion and English, all in English.
Uh,
And they in the recess they told us to speak in English too, so we
so
needed to talk a lot in English. And
so you
then by
see, yeah.
what?
I know I was going to say that you can right now like teach a lot to your friends in Bertani school. I guess that
Yes.
in disguise or suggest. There are a lot ways to learn as well. There are a lot of podcasts, a lot of materials online,
Yes,
and
by watching movies. And I have a friend, and her mom talks sometimes with us in English, and sometimes we say some crazy things in English, like when we don't want someone to understand. I don't know,
yeah,
but by watching the YouTubers and movies, I learned the English.
pretty good, pretty good.
It's not that good, but at least I can understand.
Yeah, yeah, you're understanding pretty well.
Yes, I prefer to hear than talking in English.
Yeah, because I was a little bit worried. I said, I'm speaking too much, maybe. I don't
No,
know if it's okay though.
no, no. It's good. It's good. Then the last question, sadly, it's as it's everything going like in the how to say al modo of the pandemic, like
Yeah, yeah.
al modo de la pandemia,
Mm-hmm,
and we are doing virtual stuff like virtual classes,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
I saw in your other life that you said that we might plant some stuff, not stuff like some trees and all of that, and we are not able to do that now. I mean, if I want, I can do that
Yeah,
with my family, but not with my friend. I can do some with some friends, but I don't see every friend every day,
yeah,
all my
got you.
friends every day. And you are not here too, and we're not in the school too. So how how the things are going to work if we're not seeing each other?
Wow. I'm gonna answer,
If
this
you,
question.
I don't know if you understood.
I did. And what I'm going to say is a little bit as well personal because, I was very used to go out to do a lot of projects with the community, to go out to
Hmm.
places. I was always living in travel between like Asunción, like other places for the Guasu, like different
Uh-huh.
areas and different cities. But this arrived, right? This is right now. It's not gonna be forever, but it's a reality right now. So the beginning, everything obviously is at home. We are just seeing the screen, and so at the beginning was quite hard as well for me to rethink the activities, to
Hmm.
reorganize how. So what we started doing with some of the organizations, it was not just a typical, Zoom or Google Meets call, but we were trying to bring new perspectives and new ideas. Like, for example, virtual reality or augmented reality. I don't know if you have heard about it, that you use some Googles, and you just go to some places, you just put your
Uh-huh.
phone so you can go to different landscapes and the different visits. So yeah, this is pretty much what I am working, and I'm going to invite you guys because
Thank you.
we are working with a group of youth from Latin America to have the Latin American Student Energy Summit. So it's going to be an online conference in August, and we want to have it with augmented reality and artificial reality. So we are building a platform for youth like you, like your colleagues, to learn about energy, to learn about science of energy and energy transition in Latin America, to connect with youth from the region and to do
Hmm.
projects. And it's going to be in different ways online. So this is one way. But other is to I believe, Sophie, that youth, that we are very creative. And whenever we want to build something or transform something, we can do it. For
Uh-huh.
example, do you know that Isaac Newton, the guy of the apple,
Yes, yes,
Newton,
yes, yes, yes.
he formulated the theory of universal gravity whenever it was a pandemic during that time, right? And I guess he
Really?
was 17 or 18 years old. So by the time they were not having internet, games, or even electricity in places, so they have to go for quarantine lockdown for months. And this guy was, okay, all right, what am I gonna do? So he started studying. He needed to
Hmm.
focus, to have ideas. And then he just came out with the universal theory of gravity. So it's like,
Yeah.
come on, these
And
things are really possible.
in that timing was like harder to do something like searching on internet. He was
There was
just
no Netflix, there was no YouTube, there was no
yeah,
social media, there was nothing of that,
no.
no WhatsApp, nothing. So the guy came with this. So I think this is kind of an invitation for youth and you all that you're watching this video, this live, is that I know it's hard. We are our houses, but it's time to innovate. Try to think where you can join to other youth, what you can do. There are many things online, and maybe if you don't know how to do it, or if someone else is not doing it, but like create a team and gather online. Like learn to program as well. I think it's fundamental to do projects. Even programming is not just for scientists; it's for people who like work in different areas. So I think that use the time as well to communicate, to bring your ideas, to tell to the world what is the world you want to see after COVID. Because COVID is not going to last forever, and we will have to rebuild society. We have things like climate change, we have things in politics, things with the virus, so many things is happening. However, we youth, we need to do our life as well, and we need to be innovative. So I think it's about innovation, it's about thinking, Sophie. For example, if you guys want to plant trees, but right now it's not, the opportunity to have it in a group. Maybe, as I said, try to do something online as we did the calculator. It was even pre-pandemic, but we wanted to do something online where people from around the world can cooperate. And there are a lot of projects that people are doing right now, even from their houses. So we still have this connection, I'm still talking to you, and we can do projects. You guys have an idea, we can chat and I
I
can
don't know
help
if
you.
it will be able, but in the school, as you are far away, and at one point we are going to see each other again in the classes, and when we see each other, we can. I don't know if it will be possible, but we can make a call and do a meeting, and then you can explain to the classes. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do
Sorry.
something, but I'll send you the invitation here in the chat, and I will leave the invitation for the conference we are organizing in online, because everybody can participate. You just need to have a computer or internet access.
Or
So
even
that's
a
that's
phone.
very exciting.
Even a phone, because even with your phone you can enter. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
All
really
right.
good. Thank you so
All
much.
right. So it
Thank you
was a
everyone
pleasure. It was a
for
pleasure.
what?
It was a pleasure. I say I'm very happy as well to be here to listen from you. And guys, if you have questions as well, just don't hesitate to ask me. And so you have my contact. I'm gonna send you in the chat of the Facebook Live the project that we are doing, so you guys can be
Yeah.
tuned and learn a little bit of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and how we can contribute for the sustainability and science in our continent.
You will send to the calculator the
Oh, that's
test.
a good one. I also will send it. I'll send it at the end of the live then.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. And I think that bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you. So, good afternoon to you all, and maybe good night for me. So, see you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
I just leave, right?
Kiss with you.